Welcome to Reading with Miss Corwin. We're going to be taking a look at today's assignment. So here I am in week 4, and I'm going right here to where it says Examples of Race, 10/1/2020. That's today's date. And I'm going to click in here. So I was looking at some of your answers from yesterday, and I found some really great examples, and then I found some examples that look like they were missing a couple things. So let's take a look. So here's a really good example. So the question from yesterday is, do you think we should allow phones in school? This person says, phones in school are a good and bad decision. So they have turned that question around, and then they answered it. So I have my R for reverse your question or rephrase your question, and A for answer your question. Then in paragraph 1, chef's kiss, love that. They are already citing the evidence. They are citing the article that they used. In paragraph 1, I agree that phones would be a good decision, but on the other hand, I agree with what's in paragraph 2. So they actually cited the text twice there. According to the text in paragraph 1, I agree that phones could be used to help students and they might be good for emergencies. On the other hand, some students might use their phones to cheat and play games instead of paying attention. So that's great. That's a great E. And then this person added a solution. They didn't need to, but they did anyway. My solution is to have a place where kids can store their phones during class and grab it if they need it. Cool. I had my R.A.C.E and E. Perfect. So here's another example, and this one's a lot shorter, but I think we should not have phones in school. They have rephrased that question, and then they answered it. And they put their rephrased question in red, their answer in green. The text states, perfect, you're already bringing it back to this text, that you can cheat. As a result, kids won't learn. So I can see that they use the sentence starters, which is a great choice because those are going to help you a lot. So in this one, I had my R, A, C, and E. Next, do I think we should have phones out in school? Yes. So when I first read this, I was like, ooh, that's not really turning the question around. But since they ended it by saying yes, I'm going to say that that counts. So I'm going to say that's my R. Yes, I think we should have phones out in school for educational purposes, and I think it is good for students because if they're wrong, they can look it up for next time so they can correct themselves. A, perfect. I got some of this information from Cell Phones in School by Lucy Jones. That was the name of the article from yesterday. Cell Phones in School, and then the author, Lucy Jones. And E, I think it is good to have cell phones in school for other reasons to let your parents know if you have after-school sports or if you're going to a friend's. It's perfect. Then one more. So it says, cell phones are a good and bad thing. Sometimes it is a good tool for entertainment, and it's also bad for the chance people will look things up on them. So that's my R. A, I feel they are not the greatest for school. So that's answering, do you think we should have phones in school? C, in paragraph 1, perfect, nice citing the text. Paragraph 1, it talks about how phones can be used to look things up like word definitions in math. And E, I think that this will be a huge distraction for almost everyone, from the kids who use the phones to the kids and the others who see it. So this had my R, A, C, and E. Perfect. So then here's some examples that could use a little bit of work. So this person says, teachers do not want kids to have phones in school, while some others think that it's fine for them to have phones. So the question was, do you think we should have phones in school? This didn't tell me what this person thought. I would say that maybe this would be like an E if they were like explaining their answer, but they didn't rephrase the question. They didn't say, I think we should have phones in school, or I think we should not have phones in school. They didn't answer the question because they didn't tell me what they thought, and they didn't cite the evidence. They didn't bring it back to that text that I had provided to you. You always have to bring it back to that text. So the next I think phones should be allowed in school for learning purposes. So I would say they have their R here, they have their A, but they didn't cite the evidence. They didn't bring it back to the text that I gave you, and then they didn't explain their answer anymore. They just said, I think it should be allowed for learning purposes. Well, tell me, what does that mean? What kind of learning purposes? And then here, this is a long answer, and it would be pretty good, except they're missing something in here. So schools are wondering if they should allow phones during school hours. So I'm going to say that's a good R. I personally think they should not be used while learning, but during times when you aren't learning should be fine. That's a good A. Sometimes other people may wonder why you can't use your phones in school. They said that that was their C, their blue, but it's not really. Well, phones are addicting, and sometimes that addicting thing can lead to something bad. We call people who don't get off their phones zombies. So that's a fine E, but they never actually brought it back to the text. They said that they cited their text, but you need to say something like according to the text, or in paragraph 1, or the author states. And examples of that are here on this slide right here, according to the text, according to the author. For example, on paragraph 1, and so forth. So these are sentence starters for your C, citing evidence, and these are sentence starters for your E, explaining evidence. So your job for today is going to be to read this article called Limited Resources by Joseph Mattern, and it's really short, it's only like 3 paragraphs, and then answer this question. And the question is, why is it important to conserve our limited resources? And I would like for you to also break it down and color code your answers just like last time. If you have any questions, just let me know, but I'm more than happy to help you. But that's all I got for you. Thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.